Okay, just a little bit of housekeeping. Mike, we better put another 100 hosts in. This is, you know how to make a pastor happy? Is to see a church full the week after Easter. It's good to see. I know last week, though, I know you were kind of sitting on each other's lap, and probably some of you were relegated to the fellowship hall or to the chapel. When I came in at the end, toward the end of the 10:30 Mass, I mean, it was as if this place was going to bust at their seams. So I know that we call this Divine Mercy Sunday, but maybe we also should call it Lost Them Again Sunday. Where are they this week, right? It'd be pretty easy to become a little self-righteous in it all, though, really, wouldn't it? Point out the fact that, hey, we're back the second Sunday of Easter, right? Where are they, right? But I don't know, maybe they're just not as committed to this tradition, to this obligation, to this gift of coming to Mass every weekend. It's not a big part of their lives, or maybe it isn't anymore, or not yet. It might be that they've never felt all that welcomed by the church, to be a part of all of this, to be worthy of it. Maybe our look of, you're sitting in my pew, last week didn't communicate how happy we were to see them here, right? Maybe like the apostles after the resurrection, it was just too much. Too much to try to wrap their head around, too much to try to figure out how does Christ, who once was dead, now is risen, this risen Christ is right before us. They just went fishing. Maybe that's what some of the people did too, right? The apostles did. Maybe there's just so much going on in their life to try to add one more obligation to a Sunday morning is just too much. Or maybe they just, out of shame or guilt or heaviness in their lives, they can't believe that they are loved by God as much as we know we are loved by God. That's a lot of maybes there, right? Perhaps it might serve us better not to dwell on the maybes, but what we know for sure and what we can learn about the gathering of the faithful in the early church, learn from them. Because we do know from the Gospel of John that when Jesus greeted the men and women who were huddled together in that upper room, his first greeting was not, "Where have you guys been?" It was, "Peace be with you. Peace be with you." And then he looked at Thomas, who was struggling so hard to believe, and he encouraged him. He greeted him not with any kind of shame or scold him or belittle him. He just said, Come closer. Just come closer. And then he breathed on them and he gave them the Holy Spirit. Not some of them, not one or two of them, all of them. They got the Holy Spirit for the forgiveness of sins, as if Jesus was saying to them, it's going to take a lot of forgiveness to keep this thing alive and to keep it going. And we know from the Acts of the Apostles that the community of believers was of one heart and one mind, not divided. They were of one heart and mind, and with great power they bore witness to the resurrection. And we know that the community of faith, within the community of faith, there was never a needy person among them. They took care of each other. And we know that the power of the Holy Spirit changed everything, how they lived their lives and who they loved and how they loved. And we know from the first letter of St. John that when a person truly believes they are loved by God, following their faith, living that love, it's not a burden, it's pure freedom, it's pure joy. And they gave witness to that joy. It was so much joy that it just attracted others to want to be a part of it. Who does not want to be a part of something that is so joyful as what we have right here? And they bore witness to that joy in word and in witness of love. We can learn a lot from that early church of how to be church today, so that maybe it's not so much about those folks who aren't here, but also a little bit about all of us who are.